In the video description, you will find chapters which will let you easily navigate the video and jump to or rewatch certain sections of the video. This video is intended for beginners or slightly below intermediate or intermediate players dealing with combat and combat with larger hordes. Before we do anything within the game, the first setting that you should change as a new player is you want to jump up here and you want to go into audio. Now, the Project Zomboid music is fantastic. It is meme-worthy good. However, this music covers up everything in the game. Footsteps, zombies growling, moving around, flopping around, etc. Drop this down to 0. Forget about it. Turn it off. Put that music to 0. Turn it off. The zombies, while they are standing still, they've got idle sounds that they make, and they have aggressive sounds if they're trying to locate you. They've also got footsteps, different types of footstep sounds for grass, gravel, carpet, wood, etc. Turn this down and you'll be able to hear the zombies. Get good enough and you'll be able to pinpoint where they are within a building. You can enter a building, listen to the ambient zombie noises, hear them under your left or right ear, and locate them within the building. And then you can figure out how many are behind a door, how many are outside, how many are around the corner, etc. Turn this off. The next setting you want is under display, and it is down here under cursor. It's called aim outline. Turn this on to any weapon. And what this does is it'll highlight zombies in a green outline. If you, whenever you have a weapon ready to hit a zombie, this will work for guns or melee weapons if you have this selected for any weapon. For guns, it'll be a varying color of green. You'll see like red, orange, yellow, light green, and then the like darker green traditionally. This will really help you figure out if you're in range of hitting a zombie or not. It'll help you with your timing. You can tell when you can swing at a zombie. I will have a little asterisk here. The aim outline is about 95% accurate. It is possible for a zombie to be lit up green, you swing your weapon, and you miss or hit something else. It is all based on where your cursor is at the moment. So when you're swinging your weapons, make sure that cursor is directly behind that zombie or on that zombie. If it's slightly off left, slightly off right, it's possible for you to get the green outline, swing, and miss, and the zombie will bite you. The next thing we want to talk about here is when you go to make your own game. So if you're playing by yourself, not with your friends, is what I'm going to assume. So you're going to click on solo. The game doesn't do a great job of differentiating between what any of this is. So I'm going to try to break this down just a little bit so you understand. All of your games, you can just play on custom sandbox. Within custom sandbox, you can recreate any of these modes. It's not a big deal. So start on custom sandbox. We are going to go in here and focus on some of these settings. Now, in the bottom of your screen, I know this may be overwhelming. In the game, if you've played the tutorial, you understand how to kind of move around, maybe hit some things, fight some things, but this is all within another world of its own. So while you're in here, it's important to understand at the bottom of your screen, you'll see saved presets. You have access to the modes that you saw earlier, Survivor, Builder, Apocalypse. So if you mess anything up, just go right to Apocalypse. Apocalypse is the default that you see right now. If you click Custom Sandbox, it will default to Apocalypse. So these are all Apocalypse settings. You can look at what they are. What I would suggest for you to do, there's a few settings in here. You can ignore most of the stuff, but there's a few settings in here that I would like to highlight. One of the first ones is time, the day length. 2 hours is universally what most people use. This gives you plenty of time to get some stuff done during the day. 1 hour, with this set to 1 hour, you sort of get in trouble with a lot of the stuff in the world. You don't have a lot of time to specifically drive around. In the early game, it's fine. But in the later game, when you want to drive to another part of the map, you end up really struggling, especially if you are playing single player and need to sleep. The next thing that I would suggest you looking at is all going to be underneath zombie lore. Now, this is going to directly affect the zombies themselves. So in here, check proper zombies, and if you mess anything up or want to change anything, go ahead and recheck proper zombies. It's totally fine. And remember, you can always back up and go right back to Apocalypse and change all of this. So in order to change these settings, uncheck proper zombies. In here, one of the first things I would change is you're going to change these to shamblers versus fast shamblers. Shamblers is what I would equate to Walking Dead zombies. They sort of shuffle around. They're a bit slower. This will give you plenty of time to reorient yourself in the world and prepare for these zombies as they're sort of approaching you. I personally like to play with saliva only infection. The beginning of the game is a little bit tricky and it doesn't differentiate between these. So when you are in the game and you get attacked by a zombie, if the zombie scratches you, lacerates you, you have a RNG chance, a percentage chance. You can see all these percentages on the wiki to become a zombie, to get the zombie virus, get sick, and later on die. I don't like that chance myself. I love the idea of the primal bite version of zombies, so I always play on saliva only. If you are a new player, if you really want to take it a step further and really orient yourself, there's nothing wrong with just turning transmission off. Just turn it off. Bites take 5+ days to heal. While you are bit or while you are wounded, your character will move slower, be in pain, and swing slower. So there is a penalty to being injured. It is not a setting that would make your game instantly easier. All this will do is make it so that all of the zombie attacks on you will not infect you. And when I say infect, I don't mean infected wounds. I mean infected with the zombie virus. So with none, all you can, if you get injured, just heal yourself up and move on with go back to your base, hang out, wait for the 5 days to end, and then you're good. So the other settings that I would like you to change in here to make these games, your first weeks, a little bit easier to survive, that is going to be under character. Now, there's 2 settings in here I want you to change. One, the XP rate. I suggest you play on 3 or more XP. So 1 times XP is not bad. If you've played the game, you've probably noticed that you've leveled up your skills a little bit. You probably haven't leveled up much though. You can ask any of the veteran players what it's like grinding some of these skills on 1 times XP. Up to about 5 is fine, but 5 to 10, and specifically 5 to 8 and then 8 to 10 are drastic long hauls of grinding. If you're looking to really level up your skills and you want that really, really long haul, you can leave this on 1. I would suggest going to 3. So make your life easier. You'll be able to level carpentry faster. You'll be able to build your base a little bit quicker. Your combat skills, especially your passive combat skills like light-footed, nimble, and sneak, that stuff is going to level up easier. The other one that I would like you to change is down here. This is called Weapon Multi-Hit. This does exactly what you think it does. It lets certain weapons, certain melee weapons specifically, swing and hit multiple zombies at once. So if you have a big weapon like a crowbar, baseball bat, like an axe or a wood axe, something along those lines, when you swing this, you'll see that green outline light up on multiple zombies and you can swing it at multiple zombies. Now, this won't work for like a knife or like a hunting knife, but regardless of weapons specifically, there's another very important function of the weapon multi-hit. So a lot of the issues with Zomboid in combat is crowd control. We have one defensive feature that is not sort of the offensive defensive feature, which is just kill the zombie. That defensive feature is while you're holding right click, you press spacebar, you shove a zombie. Now, with multi-hit on, this defensive shove becomes a multi-hit, so you can shove multiple zombies. This speaks volumes when you are trying to crowd control a larger group and you knock down several zombies at once rather than always just one zombie. when we talk about traits, now I have got a few mods on. So for the most part, you can ignore some of this stuff. If you would like access to these traits specifically, this is called Simple Occupations and Traits Overhaul. I highly suggest it. It's one of my favorite traits overhaul mods, but this stuff can be a bit overwhelming. Like what is all this stuff? Like what mechanics, etc. I don't like, do I care about any of this? So real quick, I'll give you a quick and dirty breakdown of some of this stuff. When you pick we'll just start as unemployed. When you pick something like we've got carpenter here, when I add this, I get 1 point in carpentry and I get a 75% bonus. Now this bonus is not, you can look it up on the wiki, but this bonus is not just 75%. It comes out to, I think the math guys have done the math on this. You can look up some videos on YouTube of people who are much smarter than I am. It comes out to like 300 or 400% or something. It's much, much faster. Don't underestimate these. The one thing I want to point out is that if you pick multiples of one skill, like if I can find another, we're going to just start as a carpenter. So if we take carpenter off, we now have 2 points in carpenter. Now it's only 100%. If I add another carpenter, it's 125%. Sometimes what I like to do in some of my games is I like to select a lot of one skill points because that first point is worth 75%. Every point after that is just 25%. Now remember what I said earlier, that 25% is a little bit deceiving. You're going to actually get a lot more XP than 25%. As a new player, you can ignore most of this stuff. If you want a vehicle, if you're looking around on like the subreddit or YouTube videos, a lot of guys will meme about picking some of this stuff. Burglar starts with the ability to hotwire a vehicle, and you can just hotwire a vehicle outright at the start of the game. If you want to do that, go for it. There is one skill that I would like to give attention to. That is maintenance. Now, maintenance skill directly affects your weapons. The higher this skill, the lower the chance your weapon will lose durability when you swing it at a zombie. This will make your weapons last longer. This will make fighting hordes of zombies better. And if you are a person who is new to the game and you don't quite know where to go around and look for look for weapons and loot, maybe you're just going from home to home, you don't really know the POIs, you don't know the map, I highly suggest getting a maintenance point. Where you get this maintenance point, it's not super important. I'm a big fan of playing as a burger flipper because you get a maintenance point here. You also have some free points to spend. You can do this however you want to do. If you want my opinion on what trait to use, it doesn't matter what profession you pick, what traits you pick. I suggest getting a point in maintenance, at least 1 point. And that will help you out in the long run with your weapons lasting much longer. The spawn points, when we talk about spawn points, you selected them back here before you select. We're looking in the sandbox options. As a new player, you're looking at this stuff, you don't know what any of this is. Ignore the 10 years later. This is from a mod. So we have got Muldrow, Riverside, Rosewood, and West Point. So the major differences between these are basically zombie heat maps, and by that I mean zombie populations. When you start the game, you are going to start with, I'll show you, population under zombie, advanced zombie options. So we have got a population multiplier of 1. So this is the normal apocalypse setting. There'll be 1 times, and you can go from here and increase it. The population start multiplier 1. Population peak multiplier. This is the one you're going to keep an eye on. So the game is going to spawn zombies into the game every day until day 28. And at day 28, there will be a 1.5 times the amount of zombies that you started with. This can feel like a fair amount of zombies. And if you're surviving in certain areas, like if you spawn in West Point and you manage to survive and you're like, oh, there's so many zombies, this could be the setting you're looking for. So when we're talking about locations to spawn in and where should I go? What should I do? There are arguments to be made for a lot of these. In my opinion, Mole Drow and West Point, if you are a beginner or even slightly above beginner or lower than intermediate player, however you want to classify it, I would avoid Mole Drow and West Point. They're especially West Point. There can be a fair significant amount of zombies in these areas. If you're on the outskirts, it's fine, but if you spawn somewhere near the center, there can be quite a few zombies to deal with. If you're not quite comfortable dealing with larger groups, you may run into a lot of issues. That leaves Riverside and Rosewood. Now, Rosewood is okay, but if you really want an easier time, I suggest Riverside. The only issue with Riverside is you have a chance to spawn outside of town in that trailer park. Now, I've had great success playing as a new player and playing with some friends in Riverside. The zombie population, even past peak day, is not crazy. It's not insane. There's pretty good POIs here to deal with, and this is where I would suggest to spawn. But feel free to pick whatever location you would like. It doesn't really matter so much until day 28, and if you want to spawn in West Point, it's perfectly okay to just go to the outskirts of town, build yourself a cabin. All styles of play are viable. Okay, so I've got Hubert here. He is I believe he's just a maintenance guy. I don't have any fancy skills. I have no mods on. I've disabled everything. On screen, I have shown my clicks. So you should be able to see how I handle the button presses. Now, I went into the home that I was in the home next door, and I picked up the weapons that were there. So I've got a saucepan, garden fork, baseball bat, hand axe. I'm going to start with it's a pretty good find. I'm going to start with the saucepan first, because I feel like the saucepan is a weapon I would normally find in a lot of the homes. And I want to show you how I'm going to handle some groups of zombies. Now, these zombies are going to be in most of the time and most of the game, you're going to be fighting zombies. So how do we approach fighting a zombie? So the basics of how I approach groups of zombies. When it comes to fighting a single zombie, I'm going to assume that you're probably just A-okay. But we will go through the process of fighting a single zombie as well. So saucepan is out. Right click is always held down. This is in the ready position. With right click held, you can swing at a zombie. As so. Clunk. When a zombie's on the ground, stand near his head. When you're standing near his head, if you stand on him, he can't get up. Sometimes they will. The game's a little finicky. It's Project Zomboid. But the closer you are to his head, when you press space again, your character's going to stomp. And if you stomp the head, there's a high chance you'll get a kill. He's not dead. And this is the best ways to handle. When a zombie is on the ground, you want to stomp if you can, because this will preserve your weapon durability. Stomping does not affect your shoes, doesn't affect your weapons. You can stomp as much as you want. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is your stamina bar for shoving a zombie over. Now I'm going to equip the hand axe because the saucepan, no, I'm going to go saucepan. We are going to need a few more zombies. So a group of 2. The way we're going to handle 2 zombies instead of 1, there's a few ways you can do it. I'm going to just go around in a circle here so that they are grouped up a little bit. In my top right corner of my screen, I'll walk around in a circle here. You will notice that I have got the slight panic. Now, there are 4 stages. I believe it's 4 stages to panic. I don't know the names of them. I just know there's 4. That little moodle will turn from light pinkish to dark red. This decreases your accuracy, I believe, and I believe it might decrease your damage. The more zombies you're around, the more this is going to be up here. Now, these moodles, for the most part, you don't really need to worry about them. It's fine. You guys can be panicked whenever he comes across zombies. Don't got to worry about it. But when it comes to moodles, these stack, and when they start stacking, it starts becoming a slippery slope of your character kind of going downhill. So you can get the panic. It's always going to be up there. Don't worry about it. But there's another one when you're tired, and there's another one when you're out of stamina. Now, those by themselves decrease your damage and your accuracy and all that good stuffs. But together they start stacking. Now, what does it matter? Generally, when I'm playing the game, I fight while I'm tired or I fight while I'm exhausted. It's fine. If you start combining these, you have to start swinging your weapon more than once at a zombie, or double the amount of times to kill a zombie. What that means is a higher chance you're going to lose your weapon. It's going to start going downhill more. If your weapon breaks, maybe you don't have a backup weapon, or maybe, and you got to start running, try to lose the zombies. So when it comes to handling 2 zombies, you can generally, the process here is pretty simple. You're going to shove one, and you're going to shove them until one of them falls over. And when one's fallen over, stand on them. If the other one gets up, I'll let him get up. This way you can fight one while the other's on the ground and have no worries, right? Easy peasy. Easy. Now, the issue comes when we're fighting more than 1 or 2 zombies, right? Okay, Yen, we get it. There's 1 zombie, there's 2 zombies, that's easy. But how do we handle large groups of zombies? Okay, so I did 3 10s. So what do we do when we've got this many zombies? Like, what in the world do you do, right? This is the issue we run into. You hit an alarm in a building, and you have all these zombies on you. What do you do? Generally, there's a few things that you can do to handle this situation. I'll show you the first one. So watch my button presses. Notice the first thing, if it's not so obvious, I don't have to sprint. I am faster walking than them, even when they're running after me. Now, if there's one coming at you at an angle, you might need to tap sprint. So we hold shift to sprint. But you don't need to hold it. If you hold that button, you're going to start burning your stamina. And this duplicates with the panic. So how do we, what do I mean by all of this? This is how you run away, right? When someone says run away, they don't mean literally sprint away. Just run. You can lose these zombies going around the building, come into an edge of the building, sprint around this building, sprint around the other side, and you've lost sight of them. You can engage sneak, and then you don't got to worry about it. Go through the building, go around back. We'll see if any are back here. Now, I still hear them. So I'm not going to open this door, but this is what I was talking about earlier, about sound. Listen to them. Listen to them walking around, right? We can hear them out there. We can hear them walking left, right, and left. I'm going to disable sprint because I think there's one out here still. So we've got 5 down there, 10 down there, but notice that the ones that did follow only got that far. So you can lose them by just going around a building and, sneaking around, and you're good. The other thing you can do, go through the woods, right? Sprinting through woods, generally not a great idea. You can injure yourself. You can literally cut your neck open. You can cut your clothing, etc. But you can lose these zombies by going through these woods. You lose sight of you. You can engage sneak, engage sprint, start running through here. And what I'll do is I'll circle back around and I'll show you how many actually followed me. See how many are down there. Easy peasy, right? Look at that. Now, they can still see us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here, I'm going to get their attention, and we're going to start trying to fight them. So, how do we fight this many zombies? There's a few ways to do it. Swing, shove, generally is my go-to thing. I'll wait for these guys to gather up. No sprinting. See, we're just walking through here. Just gathering up, just walking. We're not sprinting. Okay, so we've got this nice group of zombies. This isn't the 30 we started with, but it's a nice group of zombies. Generally, you're probably not going to have 30 zombies anyways on day 1. So what do? How do we fight this group of zombies? So, swing and shove. No multi-hit. Swing and shove. If there's too many there, you just want to sprint away. Now, we're going to tap sprint. So watch my keyboard presses. Get a couple hits off. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick these zombies off, if we can. Get a few hits in, and sprint away. Now, Generally, what I would advise dealing with a group this large, find a car, find a building, and you're going to use sprint, and you're going to kite these so that there's only a couple. And then, when you've got a couple alone, we can actually kill some, right? So now we've split them up a little bit. Now they're grouping up a little bit again. You can do the same thing on trees. I'll walk over here to these trees. This tree is going to slow them down. These zombies generally don't walk in a line. So if I walk by some of these trees, it's going to slow them down. Now I've got them one by one. Now I can actually do a little bit of damage to some of them. And it's fine, right? So let's go back to these. Let's go back. If you've got, when you're doing this kiting, remember to keep looking around you, because you're going to see some stragglers. And these stragglers are the ones you want to pick off, right? Let's head back to this car. So I want this bulk to follow me because I've got a few stragglers up top. So I'm going to sprint back up here. Sprint to this side. Again, we're not burning sprint. We're just tapping. Just picking them off. That's all we're doing. Just pick them off. Find the stragglers, pick them off. There's a kill. That's all we're looking for. Just hit them when you can, and you'll slowly start picking them off. Now I'm going to fight these zombies, but I'm not going to speed up time. So I'm going to do these, I'm going to fight these in real time, slowly. And hopefully I don't die, because it would be awfully embarrassing to die while I am recording a tutorial on how to fight larger groups of zombies, right? But as you're watching this, please pay attention to my keyboard presses and maybe get a better understanding of what I am doing to handle some of these larger groups. Now, it helps to keep track of some of the zombies you've knocked down. I remembered that those zombies that I knocked down I'd swung at once, so I knew they were low on health, so I went back for the kill. In the top right corner of my screen, you'll notice that I am exhausted, so I'll be doing a little bit less damage. The first, again, what I was saying earlier, the very first levels of these are okay. You can ignore that first level. But as soon as you see that pink go down into the other level, then you start being in a little bit of trouble and be a little careful. Because if you do need to sprint away, you're going to run into these problems of running away. You won't have the stamina to swing your weapon, you won't have the stamina to sprint, etc. Okay, so that wasn't the 30 that we started with because we lost some of the trees and some on the other side of the building. So the big difference between fighting that many zombies in this group and fighting with multi-hit rather, and versus this was without multi-hit, but with multi-hit, the big difference is that your defensive shove will hit multiple zombies. And my weapons will hit multiple zombies. So you'll get multiple knockdowns. And what we mean by that is you'll be able to actually stand toe-to-toe with these larger groups without any issues. Okay, so that wasn't a super large group. What do you do with really big, like really huge groups? Like let's say I'm playing an insane population. What do you do on huge groups? Okay, here's my suggestion if you're playing on those large groups. One, don't fight in buildings. You want to find yourself out in a long corridor, a long street. I would prefer fighting in the streets, clear out the area, and you do it the same way. You just start going one by one zombies, hitting the ones that fall down, just start picking them off. Be very wary of the amount of stamina you are using. Now, I play with a mod, generally, if you're looking at any of my other videos, I have a mod that has a little display down here of how much stamina I have, and I eyeball that. Now, when you are using weapons, if you use like a baseball bat, two-handed weapon, going to use that stamina a little bit quicker than when you're using these one-handed weapons. I hope that some of this with the keyboard presses on my screen is a little bit helpful. It helps you understand how to navigate some of these zombies a little bit better. To reiterate some of the very important tips here. Very first thing. Remember, you can always just walk away. You don't need to sprint. You can just walk away from the zombies. It's okay. Just walk. Don't hold shift. Don't use alt. Just walk away. Lose them in a building. Get around a corner. Hit C. Engage sneak. And then you don't need to worry about them. It's very easy to lose these zombies. Okay. So, the next part of the video, I want to talk about some of the zombie logic. Okay? So these zombies are here. What are these zombies going to do? When a zombie, the logic of the zombies is very simple. If there are zombies, around you, they're going to do one thing, and that is they're going to shuffle their way towards you until they get to you, right? It's very simple logic. What do we mean by that? Let's break some of that down. That means at all times while I was engaging that group of zombies, all of them were attempting to come towards me slowly. So we know that we need to control the space we have. So there's a few tips I can give you that when I am engaging a group of zombies, I always know these things, or at least try to know these things. That first one is always have an out. Always know the space around me. Control your space. Know if you're in a building, know where the out is, whether that be a window on the second floor that you can leap out of. Always know where that out is. Don't fight in a corridor where you're trapped. So for this situation, I chose to fight out here, and that is out in the open. You can do this. You don't have to go into a building and fight the zombies in the building. You can open the door, you can stand outside the building, shout, and the zombies will make their way towards you. You don't have to engage them in these buildings. Pick your fights. Control the space you're around. The second thing I can tell you, if you go back and watch me engaging these zombies, what I want you to watch is my button presses, and notice that I was holding S. Anytime I'm fighting zombies, I was holding that S key basically the entire time that my weapon was out. The number one thing that I see all players of all spectrums, be it those who consider themselves veterans or pros, that number one mistake that I see these players make is that they stand their ground as opposed to backing up. Remember the zombie logic. They're always going to be shuffling towards you. So we can control our space by always backing up. As soon as you stop, all of them get that much closer. So if you make them come towards you, swing your weapon while you're backing up, make them come towards you, you can save yourself that space. Now you build this up, you make it a second swing off, maybe a third swing off, or maybe it's just 2 swings before you have to turn and kind of make a little bit more room. But it's only 2 swings. What does it matter, right? Well, when you start to grow these groups out to 20, 30, 40 zombies that you're trying to engage at once, you want to really control that space because you're fighting against time. You're fighting against your fatigue bar and your endurance bar. Because as soon as those hit, you deal less damage and you're going to require more swings in order to kill the zombies, which is going to then reduce the durability of your weapon. It's that slippery slope that we talked about earlier. So if you can get that extra swing in, that'll add up over time as you're engaging these larger groups of zombies. Whereas if you stood and if you stopped to stand your ground, when you turn, you need to hold shift to create that space and you bump the zombies so that they don't come at you. And if you're only doing that one swing because you stood your ground, it's going to take that much longer to fight these zombies. So along the note of the zombie logic, what are some other sort of things we can understand about fighting a zombie? So there's a few zombies over here and down here. Let's understand that when we are fighting a zombie, there's a few things that are going to happen, right? So when we're watching them, they're always going to be shuffling towards us. We can lose them on buildings, etc., etc. But how do we fight these zombies and survive? That first thing is the shove, right? Spacebar shove. Knock them back. Or knock them down if you're lucky. There's a knockdown. All right, what's the other thing you can do? So this is something that you would generally not do and not something that most people worry about unless they're playing on with sprinters or something. But if you're holding sprint, you can bump into these zombies. You see how he got stunned there? So when you're holding sprint and you tap these zombies like this, you're going to bump them and you're going to see if I can get another one. And he's going to be stunned. You can do this to disrupt them, or you can do this to get out of the reach of the zombie. When we were fighting zombies too, the same stun animation is going to happen when you bonk them in the head with your weapon. Right? Every time you hit them, they get stunned. They get knocked up, right? Use it to your advantage. If you hit these zombies, bonk them, and then wait, right? If it's a couple, don't go for the second swing. Don't go for that second swing. Even if it's just 2 zombies. If you've got just 2 zombies following you, don't go, when you hit one, don't hit the other one right away. Right? Don't go for it. Because they're stunned. No, just rotate. Just rotate through them. It's okay to just rotate. Wait for them to come to you. When you hit one, they're stunned. The other ones will keep coming. Hit them. And then that stunned one will eventually make his way over to you. Those are some of the sort of beginner level tips that I can come up with. And most of the stuff that I use day to day as I'm playing and fighting these hordes of zombies. Now, I will reiterate, these zombies are on apocalypse settings, just basic vanilla settings. If you're following the beginning of the video and you change them to shamblers, the thing you will notice is that these guys are much slower. It's very nice. It'll give you that much time, that much more time to kite them around. You'll have a very easy time. I hope this video has helped you. The goal of this is just to get you to survive the first week or more. The more people that like this game, enjoy this game, the better. The tutorial does a very awful job of dealing with these, getting you to a position where you can actually handle the zombies. And more specifically, some of the very nitty-gritty details and some of the specifics behind the zombie settings and the world settings. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.